Welcome to Saber Sports. I'm Simone Steffen. Shane Fordham, Chris Zellis, Jeremiah Williams, and Tamir Jean-Charles are at the desk. Josh Allen consistently performs well, with 3 touchdowns last Sunday. However, the Bills were still no match for Mahomes and team. So Shane, will Josh Allen ever be a match for Mahomes?
Yeah, thanks, Simone. It's good to be back, first of all. But let me just start off by saying Josh Allen is going to go down as one of the most talented QBs of all time. 6'5", 235, generational arm. He can run by you. He can run through you. Over 4,000 passing yards this season, 44 total touchdowns, third in QBR. Less sacks given up than Mahomes, Lamar, Hurts, Dak, Purdy, all notable QBs with great O-lines. And he can do everything that you need a QB to do except wins when it matters most. You know, people were comparing this game, this matchup between him and Mahomes with the rivalry of Brady and Manning. But if you ask me, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, it seems like that comparison makes more sense to comparing Josh Allen to Phillip Rivers than Peyton Manning. Phillip Rivers is 0-3 against Brady in the playoffs, just like Josh Allen is to Mahomes. He finished as a 8-time Pro Bowler, 6 all-time in passing yards and touchdowns and completions, which is the highest ranked among QBs who without a Super Bowl appearance. But he could not win when it mattered the most in the postseason against the GOAT of the game. But Chris, you're the QB. You know what it's like to be back there. Let me know what you think.
Talking to Josh Allen, I mean, like you said, what can he do? He does it all. He can pass, he can run. I will say this year his turnovers took a dive. He threw 18 picks, which I think hurt him a lot of times, as they moved along and got towards the end of the season. Red zone turnovers, things you can't have, things that great quarterbacks don't have. Josh Allen is no doubt an elite quarterback in this league, will be maybe a Hall of Famer if he can get some wins, big-time wins, but to be the best, you got to beat the best, and he hasn't been able to do that. So I think the loss to Mahomes this past year does hurt his legacy a little bit. I mean, he has a number statistically in his career, 7 seasons, over 22,000 yards passing, 220 total touchdowns passing and running. So, I mean, he has the numbers, but we need wins too. So, I just think not being able to get it done on the big stage is hurting him right now.
Wow. So with this loss, right, after this loss, I came up with the realization Josh Allen will never win a Super Bowl. Never. And thinking about this topic, it brought to my head, and stay with me now, DeMar DeRozan. You know how DeMar DeRozan has never gotten over the hump? Going against LeBron in Toronto. It's the same thing here. He's never going to win because he has to go through Mahomes, Joe Burrow when healthy, and Lamar Jackson, the 3-headed monsters. So it's going to be tough for him to get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl. When you lose to Mahomes 3 times, mentally that takes a toll on you. Your body, your game, the work you put in. Since he was not able to get over the hump, it's over for him. He's never going to win. He's just going to be a second-round playoff bandit, and its time is over. So never going to win.
I agree. Wow. Piggyback off what Jay Will said, I don't think people understand how bad it feels to lose to somebody 3 times in a row.
Facts.
I will give him Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson has beaten him. He's beaten Lamar Jackson. That's a matchup it's more in his favor. Burrow's a bit bigger than him just because he's beaten Mahomes before and he's gone to a Super Bowl before. But like I said previously in the second season, it's unfortunate for a lot of AFC quarterbacks, especially Lamar Jackson. And I don't want to spoil anything, but we're going to see in a couple of hours, what happens in this AFC Championship game. But it's kind of hard to beat a man who, won the Super Bowl and won postseason games with one leg. And we can see the receiving core. He has no more Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce's kind of having a down year. Rashee Rice, rookie wide receivers coming out. Sky Moore's on IR. MVS. So he kind of had, he's putting pieces together, and he's still Patrick Mahomes. So he's the type of quarterback where if you don't have stability around him, he's still going to win. And that's a franchise guy. So, I just feel bad for all AFC quarterbacks. But if we're talking about Josh Allen specifically, he's still a great QB, potential Hall of Famer. But like Jay Will said, I don't think he's going to be able to get it done against Mahomes.
I think Josh Allen as a player is the embodiment of the Dallas Cowboys in terms of not finishing through. Josh Allen, all the talent in the world, can't win in the postseason when it matters. The Cowboys, all the talent in the world, always projected to be a contender, always projected to go to the conference championships, but they are never there. You know where they are, Chris? They're on the couch eating chips, watching the Eagles pass by them, watching the 49ers pass by them.
Don't mention the Eagles.
They got all the talent in the
mention
world.
the Eagles.
They can't get past the 49ers. Josh Allen has all the talent in the world, can't get past Mahomes.
Don't mention the Eagles with Josh Allen, please.
Well, Cowboys fans are delusional because Dak Prescott just isn't good. So
Whoa.
He's good, but he's not that
Slow your
good.
roll on
He's
that one.
average. He's average.
People are like, oh, Cowboys have a great team. They have a great defense. They have a great offense. I never think of the Cowboys, even if they get a bye, if they get wild card, it doesn't matter. They're the Cowboys. I don't think Dak Prescott is good. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's their franchise guy. They paid them a lot of money, and he's stinking it up in the postseason. But
Josh Allen is not 35 years old. His career is nowhere near being done. He's going to see Mahomes for the rest of his life. Yes, we know that. But let's not act like he's not a consistent top quarterback in this league. At the end of the day, it's going to be Mahomes and Josh Allen on the AFC side. Regardless of what's going on, regardless of what happens, doesn't matter about the Dolphins, don't matter what the Bengals got going on. It really doesn't matter because
Burrow's better than
it's
Allen.
consistently been Josh Allen and Mahomes these past couple years, other than the year where the Bengals went. So does it hurt? Has Josh Allen proven he's not a winner in big-time moments? Yes. Can that change? Yes.
No.
Like, I believe that Josh Allen can get to a point where he can beat Mahomes and where they can beat Mahomes because there are other factors. This game is not an individual game no matter how you cut it, whether it's Mahomes, whether it's Lamar. Now, does having that X-factor player make a difference? Yes. Is that what carries teams? Yes. But you also have to have supporting cast. You have to have great coaching, great decision-making. Now, is Josh Allen perfect? No. But I will say his career is not over. Like, let's not act like he's not a top quarterback, not going to be a Hall of Famer, because he will be.
100%.
He'll be a Hall of Famer, but he just won't be
can't
a
be
Super Bowl champion.
I mean,
ever.
And that's okay.
And I 100% agree with that. I don't think, and you brought up, him not being able to beat the three-headed monster in the AFC with Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes. But I think the only one that matters, exactly. He's beaten Lamar once, but I think the only head that matters in the AFC is Mahomes. As long as Mahomes is in the AFC, I'm confident Josh Allen will never win a Super Bowl. And now, you're talking about how, and you're right, Josh Allen is consistently a great quarterback in the league, but that's during the regular season. He has his great performances in the postseason, but he can't win when it matters most. And I'm going to quote the legendary Phil Jackson on this: talent is overrated. You can be the most talented QB in the world. Cam Newton was the most talented QB in his prime, but he couldn't win when it mattered most. And Josh Allen, and if we're talking about the best QBs, the best QB, Tom Brady, he wasn't the most talented in the league. You don't need to be the most talented to be the best.
He got it done.
Patrick Mahomes, he got it exactly. Patrick Mahomes, he just happens to be one of the most talented and happens to be the greatest QB in the game, right? But sometimes they don't always both go hand in hand.
Every dog has his day, that's all I'm saying. At the end of the day, Brady ran the league for how long? He lost. So let's not rule Josh Allen out all the way. Right now, he has some things to work on, has a lot to work on. And winning is very important, especially at the quarterback position. I understand that. But at the end of the day, it takes more than just him to win a Super Bowl. It takes more than just Mahomes to win a Super Bowl. You have to look at the defense, you have to look at the coaching. Like, look at these Super Bowl teams. They have great quarterbacks. Yes, Tom Brady had great supporting cast. He had Gronk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have great players around you, and you also have to have great coaching around you as well.
Y'all don't understand. Like, granted, it's Mahomes is there too, but you got to remember, Lamar Jackson is still there as well. He has to go through him. As Lamar Jackson gains the experiences like today against the Chiefs, it's going to put him in that next, element where he's already better than Josh Allen to me in my
Lamar Jackson
eyes.
has a negative record in the playoffs.
Well, he is, but he's gaining experience, and that's one thing you have to remember. It's the three-headed monster, not just one.
Going through it, I think Josh Allen, though, and not saying that loss was completely on him. It wasn't. He played better than most of the players, on the team. Like, the coach trying to run a fake punt to DeMar Hamlin, terrible play calling on Sean McDermott's part. Stephon Diggs dropping that bomb of a pass that would have put them in a position to score. But what Josh Allen did was he couldn't complete that pass when it mattered the most to win the game. Back to you, Simone.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you guys there. After the break, is Jared Goff a top 5 QB this season? We'll be right back on WTKR News 3. Welcome back to Saber Sports. Keith Norris Jr. joins us at the desk. As of this postseason, Jared Goff joins Tom Brady and Peyton Manning as the only quarterbacks in history to lead two franchises to a 14-plus win season, once with the Rams in 2018 and now with this year's Lions team. Keith, is Goff a top 5 QB this season?
Okay, so thank you, Simone. Is Jared Goff top 5? I'll say no. As far as this season, I don't believe he's top 5. Now, we can get into discussion, but for a short answer, no.
Negative. He's not top 5. We got to stop this notion, y'all, of just giving people the reins of top 5s after 2 seasons. Like, I'm tired of this, 2 14-plus win seasons, top 5. What are you going to do when it matters most? And we have to see that. So, no, not top 5 right now. Don't look at me like that either.
Let me just read some.
Okay.
4,500 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, 67% completion percentage, 14-plus win season. Are they in the NFC Championship?
What are they going to do about it, though?
Right now, this season, Jared Goff has proven himself to be a top 5 quarterback.
No.
I'm not saying he's 1, 2, 3, or 4, but Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback. That's all I'm saying.
Just off of statistics?
That's
Winning.
all we're going by now.
He's
Stats.
what matters in the NFL?
What are you going to get done?
Wins.
So let me add this. Chris, I'm with you. This year statistically, let's look at what Jared Goff has done. He's top 2, not top 3. He's top 2 in passing yards this year.
Okay.
He's top 4 in passing touchdowns this year. And if we're looking at his effect on the Lions team, he has this Lions offense unit operating so efficiently and smoothly. And let's look at this. Now, the Lions have talent on both sides of the ball, especially when you look on offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, Rookie of the Year candidate at running back. They picked up David Montgomery this offseason. Laporta having a standout year at the tight end position. Jameson. And then they got Amon-Ra, a true number 1 receiver. Now, if we're looking at his effect on this team, this is a talented roster. But how successful would this roster be if they didn't have Goff back there calling the shots? And now I will say, I think they would be more successful this year with Goff than they would be without. And if I'm comparing him and Brock Purdy, another QB who is on a very talented team, 2 offenses who I think are equal right now with the way it has looked this postseason. Right. But if we're looking at Purdy, in my eyes, Purdy is the least important person on that offensive unit. Yeah. At least maybe 7 or 8. You have Debo, number 1, Christian McCaffrey, maybe 1A, number 2, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams. Then I would maybe put Brock Purdy at that 6th spot. Maybe 7 if you want to count the rest of the O-line because that's a fearsome unit. Right. Jared Goff, at least, he's probably the second most important person on the offensive unit behind Amon-Ra.
Y'all go so crazy about these stats. I get it, stats matter, but are you going to be able to get it done when it matters most? And we
so
have,
far,
and
yes,
but where has he been?
He's been getting it done.
Has he won a Super Bowl?
He's been to a Super Bowl.
He's been to a Super Bowl.
He's been to a Super Bowl.
Okay,
that's more than Brock.
I want to see consistency.
That's more than Josh
I
Allen.
want to see consistency.
That's more than 2.
I want to see consistency, Shane. I want to see consistency, and I have not seen that from him at all.
I feel like not to cut you off. The last 2 games, he hasn't really separated himself in the gap. Versus the Bucs, I feel like personally, but despite the picks that Baker threw, Baker played better than him personal-wise. And I feel like when he played against the Rams, when you look at it, it was an offensive shootout. But I feel like the Lions' defense clutched the game more so than what Jared Goff has. You look at other QBs in the league, Lamar has showed that gap. Mahomes, he has put the gap on the game. Jared Goff, every game is a close score, especially his last 2 games. That's why I feel like he's not top 5.
I think that's a bit subjective, because of the plays that Jared Goff makes down the stretch. When they need him to make a play, like we were saying last segment, he may not be the most talented guy, but he gets the job done when he needs to get it done. He makes the plays that he needs to make. Most of the passes that, like Brock Purdy, for instance, most of the passes that he makes, it can be a lateral pass, maybe a screen pass. Sometimes it's using Debo in creative ways, shovels, sweeps. Most of the passes that Goff makes, Laporta is having a standout season. Laporta having a standout season is a big part in the way Goff has been getting him the ball this year. Amon-Ra has looked like a number one receiver, not just because of Jared Goff, the way the ball placement and the places that he is getting Amon-Ra the ball, but he's making plays deep downfield. And if we're talking, and we're my top 5 QBs.
I want everybody to go around.
I don't want to get there yet.
Well, what I'm saying is, that was no easy defense that Goff was playing. You know, you gave credit to the Lions' defense. The Bucks are just as good of a defense, especially on paper, as the Lions.
I will say that.
And don't forget, that's a Super Bowl defense. They got the same guys they had when they won with Tom.
But Jared has, but he hasn't separated no gap though. Like he hasn't
made his mark.
Yes,
Thank
exactly.
you.
That's what I'm saying.
I think we get confused with flashiness. Statistically, Lamar is not even in the top 10 of quarterbacks, but he gets it done. Lamar's a great quarterback.
So he's a top 5 quarterback.
Just listen.
He's a top 5 quarterback.
I'm not saying he's not, but Jared Goff is as well. You look at Jared Goff's ability to process information and get the ball to the right spots. We talking difference, ball placement. That is important. That's the difference in a touchdown and a first down or incompletion. He puts it on the money every time when it needs to be there. In that Bucks game, when it got tight, they put the ball in Jared Goff's hand and he distributed exactly where it needed to be on time, in rhythm. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about a top quarterback, a guy that can get it done in a big game against a good defense, against a great defense, and get a win. That's what we talk. That's what it comes down to, being a top quarterback. It doesn't matter if he has 500 passing yards. It doesn't matter if he has 15,000 passing yards.
Bringing up stats again.
He has to win and get it to the right
Do stats
spot.
not matter?
They matter, but what are you going to do about it?
Do stats not matter?
They matter, Shane, but what are you going to do about it?
Okay, let's take away stats. He has talent, but he doesn't have sustained or veteran talent.
Absolutely.
He's been able to lead this young talent group that he has and make them be consistent. There aren't a lot of mental errors. There aren't a lot of mistakes that these guys make, and that is all on Jared Goff's leadership and his ability to bring guys along.
Absolutely.
We look at the 49ers. That's proven vet talent.
Absolutely.
Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle. These are guys that have done it for years. We're talking about first-year guys that are producing like fourth-year superstars here.
But you still have to be consistent, so we can't take anything away from Purdy, though.
But if you're looking at Jared Goff too, ever since he arrived in Detroit, they've been on the rise. They've become a better team. No one expected them to be in the conference championship this year. We didn't expect them to take the step forward that they did last year. He has more touchdown passes than Mahomes, Tua, Lamar, Hurts, Stroud, Herbert, and Baker this year. So I feel like that can't go unnoticed. If we're talking statistically in terms of numbers, Jared Goff is up there.
I agree.
All I'm going to say is, what are you going to do about it? I don't care about the stats. I don't care. What are you going to do? Get it done. Win.
I don't think he's
Just let Jay
separated the
Will live in
gameplay.
Jay Will world.
Like, we talk
Simone,
these stats stuff.
I'm sorry. Jay Will is arguing that
Jay
he cares
Will.
more
We
about
talk
names
about
than
stats.
Jay Will
Stats,
right
stats, but we don't talk about if you're going to win or not.
Simone's waiting for you to wrap up.
I'm done.
Can you
I'm
give
done. I'm done. But
five.
we talking stats. I still didn't get to my top 5, but it's all right.
14 wins.
14 wins. What are you going to do about it? 14 wins. Let's think about it. Let's think about it, though.
Go ahead, Simone. Jerry lost. He's mad he lost. Just go ahead.
No, I didn't lose. I'm just saying, like, 14 wins. Like, okay, good. What are you going to do? That's the question.
Going to have to cut you off there. After the break, the crew reacts to the Bucks handing the reins over to Doc Rivers. Stay tuned to WTKR News 3. Welcome back to the show. Shane, Chris, and Jay Will are at the desk. Shane, what are your thoughts on Doc being named head coach in Milwaukee?
Well, one, let me just start off by saying, when I heard the news broke, I immediately got happy because my Eagles lost in the Super Bowl last year in a tragic fashion. My Sixers lost in the playoffs in a Game 7 versus Celtics. My Phillies lost in the playoffs before they had a chance to make a return to the World Series. So now that Doc Rivers is on the Bucks, it's an answered prayer. I prayed, I asked God, when will one of my Phillies teams win again? And then Doc Rivers, the Bucks picked up Doc Rivers, and I knew it was a sign. This means the Sixers are going to make it to the conference finals, and I'll tell you why. Though Doc Rivers is one of the greatest coaches in the NBA and NBA history, he has the worst luck of any other coach in the league. And he has a habit of falling short, especially when it comes to playoffs. Doc Rivers ranks top 10 in career wins, named top 15 greatest coach in the NBA, but he has blown 12 series leads. He's blown a 3-1 lead in the playoffs 3 times. He's lost 10 game 7s, which is the highest of any coach. So the fact that, and the Bucks picked him up because they feel like, he can work with this strong duo. But really, it just gives me more faith in the Sixers. It gives me faith that the Bucks are going to lose in the second round at most. So when I think about Doc Rivers' history, I'm as a Sixers fan, I'm happy. But coming from the Bucks standpoint, I don't think it was the right hire.
You always find a way to bring up Philly, Sixers, Eagles.
For Milwaukee?
Come on.
Not a good hire for Milwaukee?
I don't.
I think this Milwaukee team kind of reminds me of that Celtics teams he had. A point guard that can go in Damian Lillard, a strong shooting guard and Chris Middleton, and you have Giannis, of course, that can do it all. I think Doc Rivers' ability to coach superstars is going to help this team. He's a respected coach in this league, which means a lot, especially when you have superstars that want to run teams. Respect goes a long way when we talk about coaching and the ability to lead and put a team together that can win. Doc Rivers is a winner. Consistently in the playoffs, consistently over 500, he wins. And with superstars, he will win. So I think this is actually a good hire for the Bucks. I like it, especially considering where they were at the beginning of the season and even last year with their coaching.
You're both wrong, but what's new? Honestly, let's just be honest. Doc Rivers is an overrated.
Oh my God.
Doc Rivers is an overrated head coach in the NBA. He's an overrated. I'm gonna tell you why. As a coach, he's had the most Hall of Famers. 1 NBA championship. He's 6-10 in game 7s. Like you say, he blows lead. This is not the best situation for him. When has Doc Rivers ever really understood a scoring point guard? He's got Dame Lillard now, right? He did well with Rondo, not a scorer. What did he do with James Harden? Let's think about that.
I'm not blaming that on Doc.
I'm blaming him because as a coach, you
can't.
have to understand who you have in your
at the
system.
end of the day,
But James Harden giving up on the Sixers during the postseason, you can't blame that on Doc Rivers.
I don't blame it on Doc, but you also have to remember he's a coach. He has to, within the lines, he has to be able to coach. Okay, you need to be in this position. You don't need to be in the corner. You need to be attacking. He doesn't understand scoring point guards. And granted, if they do win, he's not going to get the credit. If they lose, he's going to get the blame. And this situation is a lose-lose for both parties.
as a coach, and even speaking from a player perspective of being a quarterback, you can do things right and still not get the job done. I can throw a perfect pass. My receiver drops the ball. What can I do? Doc can coach his players and put them in positions to succeed. If they don't go out there and do their job, he's not going to get the wins. He's consistently shown that he produces winning teams, playoff teams.
But at a certain
Playoffs doesn't matter.
Now,
Are you
he
going to
does.
get the
I
win?
agree.
Well, at a certain point, if you're looking at his playoff history, you talked about the Celtics team.
Right.
Some could say he should have gotten more rings with that Celtics team with how talented they were. It was a big three, but it was really a big four once you count Rondo.
Right.
You know,
But
you
what
had
happened?
KG, you had the Truth, Paul Pierce, you had Ray Allen, one of the greatest shooters God has ever created, and then you have Rondo, one of the greatest point guard minds the
Top
game has
10.
ever seen.
Top 10.
So some could say he should have won more than just one with that team. You know, but then you also have to see how he fell short with in LA with Kawhi and PG. So I'm with you in a sense, Jerry, but I can't blame last year's Sixers collapse on Doc because of how James Harden quit. And then you also got to remember, too, Ben Simmons decided to just stop playing basketball.
But he didn't understand Ben Simmons and what he needed to do to bring him into that next level.
is-
That's on
What was
Doc.
he supposed to do?
Put him in the paint, not in the corner. Easily.
The question is, was this a good hire for a Bucks? And I think it was.
No, it wasn't.
This is a team that needs a veteran head coach that has produced winning, that has led leaders. He has Giannis and Dame. These are two superstars, two vocal leaders, two guys that are going to want the ball, who that want to get it done. Doc will be able to coach them, control them, and put them where they need to be.
You can have a leader.
I agree he needs to get over the hump. Yes, he needs to get over the hump.
You can have a leader, but if you don't understand your personnel, and this is what you guys are missing about basketball, you guys can have good coach, all that's fine, but you have to understand your personnel. If you don't understand your personnel, you won't get it done. Simple as that. He's not a good coach for this team.
Going to have to cut you off there. After the break, we return with Monet Davis walking us through her top 5 Hampton highlights of the week for Monet's top plays.
Welcome back to Saber Sports. Here are the top plays of the week. So to start it off, we have Josh Hussein, who has a nice, incredible defensive block and gets fouled to help the Pirates on the defensive end. As you can see, he stands his ground, doesn't move for any pump fakes, and the nice play. Next, we're going to go to Trey Thomas with the left-handed layup right off the top of the backboard. Nice soft touch. He reads his defender, goes left, 1-2, soft touch off the backboard. Next, we go to Maya Reeves with the drive to the middle, to split the defenders, right-handed layup. Easy. And the stare down. She drags left, goes right, 1-2, easy layup. We stay with the Maya Reeves with a nice fast break layup, easy 2 points. As you can see, she jumps the gun, she goes for the steal, gets it, throws it ahead, uses her speed, 1-2 layup. And to round it off, we have Cam Hill with the steal, nice look ahead, and a nice bounce pass to Janae Doubling with the left hand. As you can see, Cam is in help defense, and she just reads the steal. She looks up, heads up all the time, left-handed bounce pass, nice fast break layup. That's it for the top plays. Back to you, Simone.
Thanks, Monet. Now we go to reporter Kennedy Scales for Athlete of the Week.
Now that's the sound of a talented Lady Pirate. Janae Dublin scoring 21 points makes it sound so easy.
Well, I watch a lot of my film, basketball. I get some shots up in the gym sometimes, sometimes. But overall, I just, pray, always praying every day.
With this being Janae's first year here at Hampton as a transfer, she hopes to end the season strong.
Really to get back on a winning streak, build a bond with my teammates, and hopefully make it to the championship.
I had the opportunity to sit down with Janae and discuss how family, friends, and prayer has helped her strive throughout this season.
Who do you look up to? Who's somebody that you've been watching over the past couple of years that's inspired you to keep playing hard, keep working hard, and do your thing on the court?
I feel like overall it's my family, my mom, my dad, and my sister.
So what advice do you have for the other basketball girlies that want to one day play at a D1 school or that may want to go to WNBA one day? What's your advice to them?
Keep working hard, pray every day, make sure you're up with your grades because school is really important, and just have faith in yourself.
From Hampton University's Convocation Center, I'm Kennedy Scales from Saber Sports.
Thanks, Kennedy. That's all we have for today's show. Be sure to tune back in with us next week on Saber Sports for your favorite sports on WTKR News 3.